In 1993, archaeologists in Turkey dug up a mass grave, over 60 skeletons, all men and all in their 20s. One skull had 3 holes punched straight through it, perfectly spaced from a Roman trident. This turned out to be the only confirmed gladiator graveyard ever found, and it's not just a cool discovery. When researchers from the Medical University of Vienna studied those bones, they found something strange. The spots where muscles attach to bone were massive and so abnormally thick, way bigger than normal people from the same time period. So, whatever these men were doing in training, it was building a type of muscle that modern archaeology had never seen before. But here's where it gets interesting for you and me. These gladiators didn't have bench presses or cable machines. They had wooden posts, heavy weapons, sand, and their own body weight. And the training system they used is now being validated by peer-reviewed studies in biomechanics, EMG research, and sports science. So, let me show you the actual exercises Roman gladiators performed inside the ludus, the ancient training schools where men were forged into fighters. You'll know exactly what they did, why modern science says it works, and how you can do every single one of these exercises today, whether you're in a gym, at home, or outdoors. Every single gladiator, no matter what type of fighter he was, started his training the exact same way: hitting a wooden post. They called it the palace, just a thick wooden pole about 6 feet tall, driven into the ground. And every morning before the sun came up, gladiators would stand in front of that post and strike it over and over. But here's the detail that changes everything. The weapons they trained with were made of wood, and they were built to be twice the weight of the real thing. Twice. That comes directly from Vegetius, a Roman military writer who documented exactly how gladiators and soldiers trained. He wrote that no man ever distinguished himself in the arena who wasn't trained at the post with these heavy weapons. Now, what does that actually do to your body? Well, scientists tested it. Scientists measured what happens and what muscles fire when you do big swinging movements like this. Your obliques, the muscles on the sides of your core, fired at over 130% of what was considered their maximum. Your lower back, over 120%, and hamstrings, over 150. These muscles were working harder than researchers even thought was possible, and the reason is simple. When you swing and hit something, the power doesn't come from your arms. It starts at your feet, goes through your hips, through your core, and then into whatever you're holding. Your whole body works together. That's why fighters have such thick, powerful-looking bodies. But how do you do this today? Now the easiest way? Get a sledgehammer and an old tire. That's the closest thing to what gladiators actually did. So, stand in front of the tire, feet shoulder-width apart. Grab the hammer near the end of the handle. Now, rotate your whole body, hips turn, core twists, and bring that hammer over one shoulder and slam it into the tire. Then switch sides. You should feel it in your core and your hips, not your arms. If you only feel it in your arms, you're doing it wrong. Now, here's something you might not know. The word arena comes from the Latin word harina. It literally means sand. Gladiators didn't fight on stone. They didn't fight on wood. They trained and fought on deep sand every single day. And that wasn't just for show. It was one of the smartest training decisions in ancient history. Why? Because sand moves under your feet. Every step you take, every time you push off, your body has to work way harder to stay balanced and keep moving. And scientists actually measured how much harder. Researchers found that just running on sand uses about 1.6 times more energy than running on a normal hard surface. That means if you run for 20 minutes on sand, your body is doing the same amount of work as about 30 minutes on a road. Same speed, but way more effort. And when researchers tested people who trained on sand and then brought them back to solid ground, they performed better. The gains transferred over. So, if you live near a beach, you already have a gladiator training floor for free. Sprint on it, do lunges or burpees on it. Even just walking on deep, soft sand is harder than most people expect. But if you're unlucky without the beach, you can get the same effect with a balance pad or a Bosu ball at the gym. Do your squats or lunges on it. Basically, anything that takes away a solid, stable surface forces your body to work the same way it would on sand. The gladiators didn't choose sand because it looked cool. The sand was there to soak up blood, but it accidentally created one of the best training surfaces ever discovered. Remember how I said gladiators trained with weapons twice the normal weight? Everything they touched in training was heavier than the real thing. Their wooden swords, twice as heavy. Their practice shields, twice as heavy. They would spend months swinging, carrying, and fighting with this extra weight, day after day. And then, when it was time to step into the arena, they picked up the real weapons, and they felt like nothing. That's not just a cool idea. Modern science has actually proved that this works. Researchers took 60 college baseball players and split them into groups. One group practiced swinging with heavier bats. After 12 weeks, that group could swing a normal bat about 8% faster than before. Doesn't sound like much, but in combat or in sports, 8% more speed means a lot more power behind every hit. The Romans figured this out 2,000 years before any study confirmed it. If you do any kind of martial arts or combat training, grab a heavier pair of gloves for your bag work or hold light dumbbells while you shadow box. Even 2 or 3 pounds in each hand makes a massive difference over a few rounds. When you take them out, your hands will feel like they're floating. You can also use a steel mace or a heavy club and swing it in circles around your head. These are basically modern versions of a gladiator's heavy practice sword. They're very cheap and you can use them anywhere. They destroy your grip, shoulders, and core all at once. And if you're in a gym, just take whatever weight you normally use on an exercise and bump it up by about 20% for a few sets. Then drop back to your normal weight. You'll feel the difference immediately. This is one of the oldest training tricks in history, and it still works just as well today as it did in the arena. Now, a Roman shield, the scutum, weighed about 10 kilograms. That's 22 pounds. Think about that, 22 pounds in one hand out to the side while you're moving, fighting, trying not to get hit. That's not just an arm workout, that's your entire core fighting to keep you from tipping over. And this right here is what strength coaches today call loaded carries. It's one of the simplest exercises in the world. You pick up something heavy and you walk with it. That's it. But don't let the simplicity fool you, because the science on this is wild. A 2024 study compared carries to planks, and guess what won? Carries, and it wasn't even close. Every type of carry they tested beat the plank for your abs, your obliques, your lower back, everything. The plank is supposed to be the gold standard for core training, and carries just smoked it. One of the top spine researchers in the world, Dr. Stuart McGill, found that just holding a heavy weight in one hand and walking with it was one of the best exercises for something most guys are completely weak in: lateral core strength, the ability to resist bending sideways. That's what actually protects your spine in real life when you pick up something awkward or heavy. Therefore, grab 2 heavy dumbbells or kettlebells, one in each hand, stand tall, and just walk. Keep your chest up, shoulders back, core tight, and don't lean to either side. Walk about 30 to 40 meters, set them down, rest, and go again. But if you want the real gladiator version, do a suitcase carry. Same thing, but with one weight in one hand. Now, your whole body has to fight to stay straight because all the load is pulling you to one side. This is basically what it felt like to carry a shield around. Do one side, then switch. And if you really want to feel what gladiator training was like, bear hug a sandbag against your chest and walk with it. A sandbag shifts and moves with every step, just like real combat gear would. Nothing stays balanced. Your body has to keep adjusting. That's about as close as you can get to walking around in a gladiator's equipment. But there's more. Let me tell you about the most important doctor in Roman history. His name was Galen. He got the job as personal physician to the gladiators when he was just 28 years old. And here's how he got it. He cut open a live ape in front of a crowd, challenged every other doctor to fix it, and when nobody could, he stitched it back up himself. That's the kind of guy he was. Now, the doctor before Galen lost 60 gladiators on his watch, but under Galen, only 5 died. He was so good at treating these fighters that he became the most famous physician in the entire Roman Empire. And because cutting open dead bodies was illegal back then, gladiator wounds became his only way to study how the human body actually works on the inside. He literally called their injuries windows into the body. But here's what matters for this video. Galen didn't didn't just treat gladiators, he watched them train every single day. He wrote down their exercises, and one of the biggest parts of their training was wrestling and grappling. Archaeologists even confirmed this at a gladiator school in Austria. They used radar to map out the whole facility and found that gladiators practiced full-body shield slams into each other. These guys weren't just sword fighting, they were throwing each other around. When you wrestle another person, nothing is predictable. 1 second you're pushing, the next you're pulling, the next you're just trying not to fall over. The resistance changes direction constantly. No machine can do this. A barbell moves in a straight line. A cable goes one direction, but a human body fighting you moves everywhere at once. Your muscles have to work in ways they never get to work during normal gym training. So, how do you get this without stepping into a ring? The easiest way is to try a grappling class, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, wrestling, judo, any of those. Even once or twice a week on top of your normal training will completely change how your body looks and performs. But if that's not your thing, you can still get a similar effect. Rope climbing is the one Galen himself actually listed as a gladiator exercise. If your gym has a rope, use it. Turkish get-ups are another great one. You lie on your back holding a kettlebell straight up, and you stand all the way up without letting it drop. It's awkward, it's uncomfortable, and it forces every stabilizer muscle in your body to fire at once. And body weight sprawls. Drop to the ground, chest hits the floor, explode back up to your feet. Wrestlers do hundreds of these. They build the kind of explosive get-off-the-ground power that no leg press will ever give you. Gladiators who could wrestle were the ones who survived when things went wrong. A sword can get knocked away. A net can be dodged. But when a 200-pound man grabs you and drags you to the ground, the only thing keeping you alive is how strong your body really is.